The school hallway was already empty as the janitor Ethan pushed his mop bucket toward the gym. It had been another long, hard day, the kind that made his back ache, and his mind wandered to the stack of unpaid bills sitting on his kitchen table. As a single dad raising his 7-year-old daughter Lily, he felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. Every single night, he promised himself he would find a way to give her a better life, a life without struggle. But tonight, he didn't know that his own life was about to change forever. Because behind the gym doors, someone unseen was watching him, ready to witness a moment of kindness that would ripple through all their lives. Inside the gym, soft music echoed from a speaker left behind after a school dance. The event had been for the children, but as usual, one girl had spent the evening alone in the corner. Her name was Mia, a quiet 9-year-old with leg braces who struggled to walk without support. The other kids weren't intentionally cruel. They just didn't know how to approach her. They didn't know what to say. And so, an invisible wall of silence had been built around her. Her mother, completely unaware of her daughter's quiet loneliness, rarely had time for school events. She was a CEO, always busy running a massive corporation, signing contracts, and managing a global empire. But tonight, the event had ended early. In the chaotic shuffle of parents picking up their kids, Mia was accidentally left behind. Sitting all alone on a bench, her small hands folded neatly over her dress. She didn't complain. She never did. She just watched the colorful lights dance across the empty floor, trying to imagine what it must feel like to twirl and spin like the other girls, to feel light, free, and effortless. Ethan almost walked right past her when he entered the gym. He had a long list of tasks to get through and very little time, but something about the small, lonely figure made him stop. Maybe it was the way her shoulders slumped in defeat, or how she quietly hummed the melody even after the music had faded away. He gently set his mop aside. "Hey," he said softly, kneeling down beside her bench. "Shouldn't you be heading home?" She shrugged without looking up at him. "Mom's busy. She'll come later." A pang of recognition hit Ethan's chest. His own daughter Lily knew that feeling all too well, the feeling of waiting, of hoping, of pretending not to be disappointed when promises were broken. He sat down next to her on the bench. "Did you get to dance tonight?" he asked gently. Mia slowly shook her head. "Nobody wanted to dance with me." Oh, they don't say it, but I know why. Her voice cracked on that last word, and a wave of anger washed over Ethan. It wasn't anger at the kids, but at a world that could so easily make a little girl feel invisible. "Well," he said, a gentle smile forming on his face as he stood up and offered her his hand. "I don't see any rule that says the dance is over." Mia blinked, her eyes wide with surprise. "What?" she whispered. "Come on," he encouraged. "One song, just you and me." "I should warn you, I'm not a very good dancer." She hesitated for just a moment, then slid her small, trusting hand into his. He carefully lifted her to her feet, helping her find her balance on her braced legs. He walked over to the speaker, pressed a button, and a slow, warm melody filled the vast, empty gym. Then, holding her hands, he began to move with her in slow, silly little steps. At first she was nervous, but soon a small giggle escaped her lips. Her entire face brightened with every awkward turn, and Ethan, the first time all day, he forgot about his bills, his exhaustion, and all his worries. He was just there in that moment, sharing a dance. He was so focused on Mia's radiant smile that he never noticed the tall, elegant woman standing silently in the doorway, her breath catching in her throat. Ava Lorantha, billionaire CEO whose decisions could shape entire markets, was frozen in place. She had rushed over from a late board meeting after getting a message from the school that she was late for pickup. She'd been expecting to find her daughter upset, maybe even crying. But what she found instead was her Mia, her quiet, withdrawn Mia, smiling and laughing in a way she hadn't seen in months. And she was dancing with the school janitor, a man who was treating her like she was the most important person in the world. Ava's heart twisted with a sharp, painful ache. For so long, she had focused on providing Mia with everything money could buy, but she had failed to give her the one thing she needed most, her presence, her time. The song finally ended, and Ethan gave a dramatic, sweeping bow, which made Mia laugh so hard she nearly tipped over. He caught her immediately, steadying her. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice filled with pure gratitude. "No one ever asks me to dance." Ethan knelt down so he could look her straight in the eye. "Then they're missing out," he said earnestly. "You're a wonderful dancer." A single tear of happiness trickled down Mia's cheek. It was only then that Ethan finally noticed Ava standing at the entrance. He shot to his feet, suddenly embarrassed, nervously wiping his hands on his worn uniform. "I'm sorry, ma'am," he stammered. "I wasn't trying to." She just looked like she could use. Ava raised a hand gently, stopping him. "Don't apologize," she said, her own voice breaking with emotion. "Thank you. Thank you for giving my daughter something I didn't." Ethan opened his mouth to respond, but couldn't find a single word. Ava walked over to her daughter, knelt down, and pulled her into a long, overdue embrace. "Mia, sweetheart, I'm so proud of you," she said softly into her hair. "Mom," Mia said, her face still glowing, "he danced with me." Ava looked up at Ethan again, but this time she really saw him. She saw the deep exhaustion in his eyes, the humility in his posture, and the undeniable, quiet warmth in his smile. At that instant, something profound shifted inside her. "Would you mind staying for just a moment?" she asked. They sat on the bleachers. Mia nestled happily between them, and they talked. Ava learned that Ethan was working to shifts just to support his own daughter after losing his wife. He learned that Ava had been raising Mia alone since her husband passed away years earlier, constantly juggling the immense pressures of her company with the challenges of motherhood. There was an unexpected ease between them, a shared understanding forged from sacrifice, exhaustion, the love for their children that went far beyond what anyone else could see. Before leaving, Ava placed her hand gently on Ethan's arm. "I don't usually say things like this," she admitted, her voice a little shy, "but I would really like to see you again. Maybe our daughters could have a play date." Ethan blinked, completely taken aback. "Are you sure?" he asked. "For the first time in a long time," she replied, her smile genuine. "I'm very sure." A month later, what started as simple playdates for the girls turned into dinners for the four of them. Dinners turned into shared laughter, deep trust, and the comfort of knowing they weren't alone in their struggles. Ethan brought a sense of fun and joy back into Mia's life. Ava, in turn, brought stability and warmth into Lily's. Slowly, the four of them began to feel like something that felt like a family built not on wealth or status, but on a foundation of kindness that all started with a simple dance in an empty gym. And sometimes, when the two girls were playing together in the park, laughing without a care in the world, Ava would take Ethan's hand and whisper, "Do you ever think about that night?" He would always smile, every single day. Because sometimes the smallest act of kindness, the one you think no one sees, ends up being the one moment that changes absolutely everything. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more. We'll see you next time.